You know that feeling when you check into a hotel? That sense of comfort and security? It's kind of like a silent promise that everything's been taken care of. But what if I told you that feeling is actually built on this massive hidden network of systems and protocols? It's like an invisible shield that protects you from the moment you step inside. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the secrets of hotel safety and maintenance. It's a question most of us probably never even think to ask, right? But the answer, well, it's this really fascinating mix of engineering, education, and just constant round-the-clock vigilance. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the three core pillars of hotel safety. Then we'll break down a really common accident to see how those pillars work in the real world. From there, we'll look at how hotels handle a full-blown crisis. And finally, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of maintenance contracts, the invisible glue holding it all together. Okay, so at the very heart of any safe hotel, there's this simple but really powerful philosophy, the 3 E's of safety. And this isn't just some catchy slogan, it's the actual bedrock for every single safety rule they have. Think of it like a 3-legged stool. First up, you've got education. This is all about training the staff, making sure they know how to spot and prevent hazards. You know, like a housekeeper who sees a frayed carpet knows it's a tripping hazard and reports it immediately. Then there's engineering. This is where safety is literally designed right into the hotel itself. We're talking about where the fire exits are, the kind of flooring they use, the design of the handrails, all of it. And finally, you have enforcement. This is the crucial part, making sure everyone actually follows the rules. Because it's one thing to have a rule, but you've got to make sure everybody's playing by it. All right, let's see how these principles actually play out. We're going to zoom way in on something that sounds minor, but can be absolutely devastating, a slip and fall. This is the exact kind of scenario every hotel dreads, and it's where those 3 E's really get put to the test. You might think a floor is just a floor, right? But when it comes to safety, that couldn't be further from the truth. This is the engineering part of our 3 E's in action. It's kind of like tires on a car. Some floors, like concrete or vinyl, they have a natural grip. But others, like that shiny marble or terrazzo, are basically like bald tires on a wet road. They look great, but they're inherently slippery and need special care to be safe. So let's say the hotel did everything right. They've got the perfect floor, the engineering is on point, but what happens when people get involved? What if the very thing that's supposed to make it safe, the cleaning, is actually what makes it dangerous? And this is exactly where education and enforcement become so critical. A simple cleaning mistake can create an invisible trap for a guest. Think about a dirty mop just spreading a thin, greasy film across the floor, or an oil-based spray leaving a slick residue on the bathroom tiles. These are the kinds of things that can turn a great vacation into an absolute nightmare, and they're totally preventable with the right training and oversight. Okay, now let's crank up the intensity a bit. We've talked about preventing accidents, but what happens when the unthinkable actually occurs? When the alarms are going off and every single second counts? This is where a hotel's training is put to the ultimate test. So, imagine this. You're working the front desk, the phone rings, and the voice on the other end just calmly says there's a bomb in the hotel. Your heart is probably pounding out of your chest, but your training just has to kick in. This is one of those situations where a calm, methodical response can literally be the difference between life and death. The bomb threat protocol is a total masterclass in crisis management. It's this delicate balance between trying to get information while also keeping everyone safe. The number one rule is stay calm and quietly get a manager involved. Then the real work starts. You got to keep the caller on the line and just pull out as much information as you can. When is it supposed to go off? Where is it? What does it look like? Every single detail matters. And while this is going on, a trace is already being started. Evacuation, that's the last resort, only if the threat feels real and immediate. Okay, now let's switch to an emergency that's way more common, but just as terrifying, a fire. In this scenario, there is no time to think. The protocol is all about immediate, decisive action. The moment a fire breaks out, you can't hesitate. The absolute first and most important thing is to hit that alarm and let everyone know there's a danger. If the fire is really small, staff are trained to grab an extinguisher, but they've only got about 30 seconds to try. If it's getting out of control, the focus immediately shifts to 2 things: containment, closing doors and windows to slow it down, and getting everyone out. And you gotta remember the golden rule: in a fire, the stairs are your only way out. Never, ever, ever use the elevator. So, we've seen how hotels handle emergencies, but honestly, the real sign of a safe hotel isn't how it reacts to a crisis, it's how it prevents one from ever happening.
It's like a well-oiled machine, and we're about to pop the hood and see how it all works.
So think of a hotel like a living, breathing thing. It's got plumbing, that's its circulatory system. The HVAC, that's the respiratory system. The electrical wiring is the nervous system. And just like our bodies, it needs regular checkups to stay healthy. That's where contract maintenance comes in. Hotels bring in outside specialists to keep all those vital systems in perfect working order, making sure everything runs smoothly and, more importantly, safely. So, what does one of these maintenance contracts actually do? Well, it's basically a three-part plan to keep the hotel in great shape. First, you've got preventative maintenance. This is like your regular checkup at the doctor. It's all about catching small problems before they become huge ones. Then there are emergency repairs. This is your 24/7 hotline for when a pipe bursts in the middle of the night or the elevator gets stuck. And finally, there's equipment replacement. This is the long-term plan, swapping out old equipment before it decides to fail on you. It's a whole system that covers everything from a simple inspection to a major overhaul. All right, let's get to the final layer here and look at the invisible architecture that holds all this up. The contracts themselves. These aren't just boring legal documents. They're the actual blueprints that make sure a hotel stays safe and reliable for years and years.
Picking the right maintenance contract is a lot like picking a cell phone plan. A lump sum rate? That's your prepaid plan. You know exactly what it costs up front, but you might not get all the service you end up needing. A service contract is like the unlimited data plan. You get all the bells and whistles, but man, it comes with a high price tag. And a cost plus fixed fee contract, that's kind of like a pay-as-you-go plan. You only pay for what you use, but you could be in for a big surprise when you see the final bill. It's all about finding the right fit for your specific needs and your budget.
So, how does a hotel even find the right company for the job? It's definitely not as simple as just picking a name out of a hat. They use this formal process called tendering, which is honestly a bit like a beauty pageant for contractors. The hotel invites a bunch of qualified companies to submit their best proposals, and then they judge them on everything: cost, experience, reputation, you name it. It's a tough process, but it's really the only way to make sure the hotel gets the best possible service for the best possible price.
And that brings us full circle, from the type of tile on the lobby floor all the way to the ink on that maintenance contract. Every single detail is a piece of this much bigger puzzle. And the picture that it creates is a really powerful one. Safety isn't an accident. It's a choice. It's a deliberate, systematic effort to build a place where guests can just relax and feel completely secure, knowing that someone's got their back.
So the next time you're in a hotel, I want you to try something. Look beyond the fancy decor. As you walk through the lobby, ride that elevator, or get settled in your room, just take a second to notice the invisible systems that are working around the clock to keep you safe. Who knows, you might start to see the whole place in a completely new light.